to get the kids off and running, and been dealing with a sick guinea fowl, but that's my crazy life.
Oh, goodness. Sounds like fun. So how are you enjoying being part of the group so far? Are you
I'm
getting
good.
anything that helped you out a little bit?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, good. Well, that's what, when you sent me the message, that's what I always tell people. I'm like, don't just give up. There's, I love providing information. That's one thing that you'll learn about me. And so any way I can do that, even if it's just like little quick reminders or, little things here and there. But I had already kind of started that, and I told those few people, because they had responded to actually a Facebook thing that I put in my group. And so
Hmm.
I told them, because I've known them for a long time too. And I said, hey, I'm developing a course. I said, so since you guys responded, I want to have you guys in that course, and I'm going to put you in there for free, basically. So then when you responded and you told me your situation, I can relate. I'm human. Um, but there is a reason why I have to charge what I do for some of the other stuff, just because I put my company into debt, and I put myself and my family into debt by not charging enough. So
Yeah,
now I'm able to do business consulting off of what I learned the hard way.
I get it.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things. But I love to provide. I mean, this is stuff that it took me years and years to learn, and lots of education and lots of research, and just diving in. And so anytime I can help someone kind of learn a little bit more about it, I'm all for it. So
Hmm. Thank you.
yeah, no problem. All right, so I wanted to do Zoom because I actually have a presentation put together that I did for a workshop that I did, actually based on this specific topic. And
Okay.
that way you can kind of see it. I don't know if you're anything like me, but I'm kind of a visual. I like to listen, see, and take notes. So that's how
Hmm.
I am. I'm just one of those. That's the only way I learn, is if I'm able to do all of that. So I wanted to have something you could see, and then also you can listen, and then if you want to take some notes or something like that, that's up to you. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I do want to go ahead. I don't have, in this specific presentation, I don't have the water information, but
Hmm.
I did write about that in my book. And it's one of the things that I love to kind of share, because it's something that it took me a really long time to
Yeah, I'm
learn.
sure I don't drink enough water. I've been trying, but it's. Oh yeah, go get my drink.
Yeah, yeah. So one of the things that science kind of found was the 8 cups a day. It really doesn't matter, because it's different for everyone. Just like nutrition, it's different for everybody.
Hmm.
So the main thing I tell people is, when you are working up to trying to drink enough water, is whatever your body weight is, you should always be looking to get at least half
I
of
knew you were
that
gonna
in
say that, and I'm
ounces.
like,
Yes. So you've
that's a
heard that
lot of
before. I didn't
water.
make it up. That's why I didn't make it up. I always tell people I don't make this stuff up. I promise you. So here's what I say when it comes to learning how to drink more water, because that's basically, you're developing a new habit. Habits take time. Okay, so you're going away from an older habit, and now you're trying to develop a new habit. So if you think about some of your existing habits that you just do on a daily basis, you don't even think about it, right? Like getting your kids off to school, waking up, whatever that is, like that's a daily habit. It's just something you have to do, right? Like you have to get your kids off to, well, usually you have to get your kids off to school, right?
Hmm.
So that's just something you have to do. So if you think about water intake and food intake the same way, then it becomes more important, because right now it's not really important.
I've figured out a couple tricks for myself. I got a really wide straw, and that helps me drink a lot quicker.
Nice.
So then I go through my 20-ounce like thermos a lot easier.
Yeah. So there you go. So little things like that. What I normally will tell people, I actually have this written in the book of how you can you can kind of put this together, and I think I'm just going to flip to that page, because it that way I can just read it straight out of there. But it was kind of a schedule of how you could implement more water into your life. So, and it's something that I had to learn. When I was a kid, I hated water. My mom forced me to drink a glass of water when I came home from school. Sometimes I would pour it down the drain. I'm not even gonna lie. If she didn't catch me, I was pouring it down the drain. But that was because I didn't understand the importance back then, right? I was a kid. whatever. As I got more active, I just naturally drank more water, but I still didn't drink the amount that I was supposed to be drinking. So that's one of the biggest things, because especially when it comes to people who are trying to get healthier, trying to lose weight, whatever, that's the easiest way you can do it. That just
Hey,
by
I'm pretty
drinking you enough
psyched.
water.
I'm down almost 17 pounds. I'm point 0.1 away from 17 pounds
Nice.
since August 3rd. So
Oh wow. That's awesome.
long way to go, but still.
Well, but okay, so stop
One
yourself
step
right there though.
closer.
Yes, thank you. Always, every time you think of, oh, it's a long way to go. If I were to think like that about anything in my life all the time, and I've done that before, I am going to get myself out of the game before I even start, right? So I always have to just focus on the positive aspect of it. Like, don't ever, and I'm just sharing this, I can't tell you what to do, but when you negate a positive with a negative, which is exactly what you just did there, be aware of it, because now you can start to see, okay, now I can give myself some grace and work on this next goal, instead of saying, wow, I got to 17 pounds, but I have a long way to go. You know what I'm saying? So you
I
just
feel
went
really good
high to
about it
low.
this time.
Okay, good.
Like, I mean, I've been off and on this is the first time though I've done macros, which I didn't even know what it was. My
Hmm.
neighbor started doing it. She was doing the Stronger You program, which
Hmm.
I was like, that's way out of my price range. I can't. But so I used her numbers for a while, but
Mm,
she's way thinner than me.
never do
but
that. So
but it was still
yeah,
like I had no idea. But
yeah,
it was still the easiest. Like I didn't feel hungry, and I was like, "This is crazy. I'm losing weight like this, and I don't feel crazy hungry, which is pretty awesome."
yeah.
And it's made me much more aware of what I'm eating, much more
Hmm.
aware of just carbs and fat and everything.
All of
So,
it.
um, I really feel good about it this time. Like I think I'm gonna go the mile.
Yeah. Well, I
Or
will tell you that, and I've been doing this for going on 9 years now. It's the only way that's sustainable, because you don't feel like you're dieting. And as long as you stay consistent, you don't have to be perfect. I always tell people, don't try to be perfect, because you're not going to be perfect. I'm not perfect. I don't strive to be perfect in anything that I do, because I know that I'm not perfect. So if I put myself to where I think I need to be perfect, I'm always going to let myself down. And I don't want to be like that, because then you start tapping into, self
the
confidence, self
negativity.
esteem. Right. And I've been there. So I don't want to go back there. So whatever I can do to not go back there is what I'm going to do. Right. So with that being said, I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of what I started doing when it came to the water intake. When I before I go to bed at night, I have water, like a water bottle, like the smaller water bottle, or you have one, right? You have a 20 ounce. You
Yeah.
can fill that up. The next morning when you wake up, it's right beside your bed. Drink at least half of it, right? You fill it up to
Okay.
20 ounces, drink at least half of it right then. You're going to notice that eventually, as you continue doing it, you're going to feel more energized when you wake up. And it's just going to start your day off a little bit better. Because when you've been sleeping all night, you're dehydrated when you wake up. And then if you just go
Especially with
into what
breastfeeding.
exactly, right, that even, yeah, that puts even more on you. So yeah, so if you just have it beside your bed, this is what I tell people, and this is something that I still do. When I want to go to the gym the next day, I either put my gym clothes on and sleep in them, or I put them right beside the bed with my tennis shoes, everything. Because that way, as soon as I wake up, because I still wake up and say, oh, I could just sleep another. No. And then I have to focus on my goal. So, I just get up, everything's right there. I go to the bathroom, I wash my face with cold water, because that helps me wake up too. And then I just go. But I have water first thing in the morning. So that's how I start my day. So if you can do that, start putting it beside your bed at night, so that way you don't have to think about it in the morning. It's right there beside you. And then you just wake up, be glad you woke up. That's what I have to do. Thank you for waking me up. And then drink some water.
I'll say that like 5 times throughout the night when the baby waits.
Yes, yes. I always tell people, because people are like, how was your day? And I'm like, I woke up. And I have to operate like that, because you can't plan for everything that's going to happen in your day. So if I can just be grateful for waking up, that's a plus. Now nothing can take me out because I'm glad I woke up. there was an alternative there, and I'm glad I didn't go that route. So that's
Especially
how
with
I've had to deal.
nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's how I would tell you to start your day. Try to have some water
Okay.
right beside your bed. Then, I don't know what your schedule is like, but try to have like a timeline. So I'll have anytime I'm going to implement a new habit, or if I have tasks that I need to complete, which I do on a daily basis, I have certain tasks that I need to get done. I always have a time schedule, right? Like I have calls like this during the day. So I have to make sure that anytime in between calls, I'm either eating, drinking water, doing other tasks that need to be done, whatever that looks like. So I have to make sure I have a schedule. So go ahead and write out a schedule for yourself, put it on your refrigerator, wherever you can see it. And then also what I tell people is set timers on your phone,
I do
right?
that
Reminders. There you go. Yeah, reminders. And
for
then
events and stuff.
so do it for something that you're trying to implement that's new, right? A new
Maybe I
habit.
should do my the Fitbit can tell you every hour to drink or to walk or whatever. I
Yep.
should do the drinking for
There
that.
you go.
That's
There
a
you
good
go.
idea, actually.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. So anytime, like I said, anytime you're trying to implement a new habit, whether it's exercise, drinking water, whatever the case is, you always want to have some kind of reminder, right? Because otherwise you're just going to go back to your old habits and you're not going to think about that new habit. So there has to be something there that reminds you. All right. So like I said, just your body weight, take half of that in ounces and try to, track it, write it down throughout the day. How much did I drink? How much did I drink here? Okay, cool. Because that way you can keep track of it and you're hitting your goal rather than, well, I think I'm hitting, you don't know. So it's kind of like fuel intake,
I try
food.
to remember to put it in, but I forget.
So that's why I said, just have a notebook or something you just write it in real quick, or you can do a hash mark. Have you ever done that? Like hash marks? Like
Oh yeah,
like the
okay.
fence, do a hash mark. You have a
Yeah,
20-ounce bottle, right? Every time you drink one, hash mark, wherever that, doesn't matter where it is. You have a notebook beside you or whatever, if you're in your car or whatever, hash mark. Super easy. You don't have to worry about it. And then once you get to a point, like I said, I didn't really drink a ton of water at first, but now I have a gallon that I drink. But I think this is years in the making. Okay. So it's okay. It's all right. I'm not telling you to start drinking a gallon of water tomorrow. What I am saying is eventually it's going to be a habit and it's going to be normal. Everybody that knows me now knows I have my gallon water jug. I have a company here that made me an ambassador for their thing because this is literally turned into my purse that I have every so it's just those habits and it's forming those habits and it takes time, but you have to be intentional. It's just like anything else that you want to achieve. Any goal you want to achieve, you have to be intentional. You can't just sit back and be like, oh, I really want to do that, but then you're not doing anything about it, right? Like I
It
want to
took me a
have,
while to get ready to, not that I didn't want to lose weight, but like I just wasn't ready.
yeah,
And I just wasn't ready. And then and I was breastfeeding. I'm like, I don't want my supply to go down. I don't, I was worried about all those things and I just wasn't mentally in the game yet. And then August hit, I seen how much my friend lost. She looks awesome. And I started asking questions and poking around a little bit. And then all of a sudden I was like, one day I woke up and I'm like, you know what? I'm ready. Let's do this.
awesome. You have to be ready. I tell people that I'm like, I'm here when you're ready. If you're not ready, there's nothing I can do for you that's going to help you. Nothing. I can give you all the tools in the world. I can tell you everything that I've ever learned. But if you're not mentally ready, which is why I start my book off with mindset, because if you're not in the right mindset, nothing else is going to matter. So we have to start there. That's why I do an intake call with everybody, because that's when I get to know, like, okay, are you ready? Or is this just kind of something that you're dabbling in? Because if you're just dabbling in it, I have blogs, I have all this other information, you can read up on that stuff. But,
Mm-hmm.
if you're ready, let's go, So, all right, well, we got the water part done. So you feel good about that, how you can kind of achieve that goal?
Yeah,
Cool.
I'll put it in the morning and yes.
Awesome.
I think I'm going to try to make my Fitbit yell at me.
Yeah. All right, awesome. Well, I'm going to share my screen real quick. Hopefully this works. Gotta love technology. I always tell people if I can figure this stuff out, anybody can. Can you see that?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to do present. See if it works. Come on.
Yes, my dog.
It says loading. Come on, I know you want to work. There we go. All right. So in the military, I'm prior military, so we used to say kiss, but it was something else. I'm obviously never gonna call somebody stupid. So I say keep it simple and steady, steady. So steady, I always tell people be consistent, right? That's what I told you.
What's the real meaning?
Consistent. Oh, keep it
Keep it
simple,
simple, stupid.
stupid. Yeah. I came from the flight line, male dominated career field. Nobody cared about emotions back then. So all
My
right, so
husband was in the
this is
Navy.
okay. Yeah.
He's not
So this
anymore,
is
but
basically just something I put together. Like I said, I did a workshop on this, and just to kind of teach people about macronutrients, how to get your fuel intake. I call it fuel intake because that's exactly what it is. It's fuel for your body. All right. So basically, it's going to go over macros, what they are, and how to calculate them based on your body's fuel requirements. You already know what they are now, but we're still going to go through it anyway.
that's okay.
All right.
Well, I
So
ended up getting a I had Dan do them for me because I wasn't sure with the breastfeeding and stuff because it was
yes,
just my brain was just too much. I couldn't do that. I'm sure I could have done the calculations if I truly tried, but my brain just like wasn't there.
yeah,
Where's my
yeah.
pen? One second. Yep. You can keep going. I'm just grabbing.
All right. I just want to make sure you're good.
I am.
Okay, cool. All right. So there's 3 macros, and you've already learned about this. So you got your protein, your carbs, and your fats. If you don't already know, protein is king. I have a blog on that. I can send you that if you want. But yeah, so those are the 3. And this is something that I always have to coach people on because this is basically how you know where to start. So it's called BMR. It's your basal metabolic rate. And I can actually send you this video as well. So
Okay.
if you're not able to take notes, don't freak out. I can send it to you. That's why I'm recording it. So I'm going to send it to you. And then that way you have it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So BMR is basically the amount of energy that you need while at rest. So that's basically sitting on the couch and not doing anything. It's the lowest amount of calories a person should be taking in for a long period of time to prevent any metabolic damage and possible organ malfunction. So that's why it's very, very important when I see people super low calorie, I start kind of internally freaking out for them because because I know this and I know that if they stay there for a long period of time, this goes a lot with bodybuilding too, because I actually have a good friend. She just competed and she had another coach, and unfortunately now she's going through a ton of hormonal and digestive issues because her coach had her doing some of this stuff. So it's something that especially as women we have to be careful for. Okay, so in order to get your BMR, I always tell people there's a website. I'm trying to clear it. Let's see, exit. Oh no,
I saw it underneath there. It was so clicky.
there we go. Okay, so this website right here. So it's calculator.net, and then it's got BMR calculator. So the reason I love this one specifically, and I even put it in my book, because it actually, you can put your weight and your age and, whether female, male, whatever, and then it gives you a chart. So it's going to ask you, instead of you having to do all the extra calculations, it's going to ask you, you know, how active you are basically. And then you kind of go from there. So I'm just going to go, let's see if I can do this again. I wanted to make sure you could see the website. All right, so that's BMR. So that's the first step. You got to calculate your BMR or else you're not even going to know where to start. So this is one of the things that when people say they're using MyFitnessPal, which all my clients use MyFitnessPal, I use MyFitnessPal, but I do my own calculations and I have them do their own calculations or I do them for them, right? Because sometimes, and just like the one you were using, those are computer based and it's not a person behind it. They don't know, like you're breastfeeding, right? They don't know that. So they're just going to give you a number. And if you don't have the information behind it, then you could end up actually doing more harm than good. So I tell people, make sure you do your research and make sure you have the correct amount of fuel when you start. All right, this is just an easy blanket. This is without me doing any in-depth calculations. It's what I've learned over the last, like I said, almost 9 years, just to help people out, is 30, 30, 40. Okay, For women especially. Guys can get away with the lower fats because they don't have all the hormones that we have. But for women, we need, especially with breastfeeding, you're going to need a little bit higher even of your fat intake because your hormones are all over the place, right? So
Yeah.
usually
So
for
just,
protein, huh?
sorry, just to
No,
clarify too, for the breastfeeding. So she's over 1, so she doesn't
right,
have to breastfeed. She just does mostly at night. Like, so she's gone part of the day, and then unless it's the weekend or something.
right,
So it's not like she's on me like constantly, but
right.
she would say probably half of her intake is probably from that.
Okay, okay. Well,
It's
that's
just
good
because
to
it's a,
know.
it's not like it's like a 3-month-old that's like on you constantly because we did that
Right.
already.
Yeah. So usually what I'll tell people with that is once you get your BMR, and then you're going to do another calculation to kind of see, like, you're trying to lose weight. So what I usually will tell people is to go take your BMR and then go get the activity level. So when you go to that website and you put your information in, it's going to give you that chart that has your activity level in there, and it's going to give you the number of calories for that.
Okay.
Okay. Then you're going to take that number and you're actually going to multiply it. In your case, I would say by just 10% because you never want to go too much. So I usually will tell people to multiply that number by 10% and then subtract whatever they get from the actual number. All right. That's going to give you your actual calorie intake. Now, for your case, like you said, you're not breastfeeding constantly, but you still need a little bit extra. So in that case, I would tell you to add about 150 to 200 extra calories to whatever that number is that you got. And I know that's a ton of information that I just gave you, but again, that's why I'm recording this so I can send it to you and you'll have it again. Okay.
Okay.
And that's why I do these workshops, and that's why I tell people to bring notebooks, because this portion of it, and it was for me too, it can blow your mind if you haven't been doing it for a long time. So just remember, it's just information and it's just for you to understand what your fuel requirements are.
I was gonna
Don't
do it
get
on my phone
overwhelmed.
as we were talking with
Okay,
together,
nice.
but I don't. Oh, fitness. Here we go. Calorie calculator. No, BMR.
Yes,
Okay, so age too old.
you're funny.
Growing older.
Yeah, I definitely can relate to that, believe me.
hit, I hit a big number on January, so
Oh, did you? How old
no, I
are
do.
you?
I
Do you
do. I'm
mind?
gonna turn 40
Oh, see, you're younger than me, so I don't want to hear
January. Yeah,
it.
I know, but still, I'm older than I was yesterday.
Well, hey, we all are that. That's okay. I have something in my notebook that says you're never too old to set a new goal. And that is so true. I always tell people my life didn't really start until 40, so you're good.
Okay. Wow, this is even more than I thought. Okay, so it gives you the um yeah, that's right. So okay, it says 1,637.
So that's your BMR. That's the lowest amount that you should ever intake for a long period of time.
Okay.
Now, there are, especially when it's different circumstances, like bodybuilding or fighters and things like that, like they do have to go a little bit less calories for a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I did bodybuilding, when I had to, because it's an abnormal body fat,
Yep.
even when I had to dip down lower, I always had a refeed day at least once a week, because you cannot keep that same low cal under your BMR for an extended period of time if you're active and doing stuff. It's just very
Okay.
bad for your body. All right. So now that you got that BMR, so there should be a chart
Yep.
that has your activity level. So depending on what your activity level is, then you're going to use that number.
Okay.
Okay.
6'5". I'm putting sedentary because I'm bad right now. I try to go for
Well,
a walk
that's okay. It's okay.
little by little. All right. So
So then
19.
you're just going to take that number. And for you specifically, I would just say start with about 10 to 15%, even if you just did 15%, but don't go too much higher than that, because then you start dipping into caloric restriction, and I don't want that for you. Okay.
Okay.
So anywhere between 10 or 15%. is fine. Then you just multiply that by the number that you just got from that chart. And you can do this later.
Yep.
But you're going to get a new number, and then you just subtract those two. You subtract that new number from the big number that you got from the chart.
Yep.
Okay. And then you're going to add, like I said, since you're breastfeeding, you are breastfeeding some, even though it's not completely all the time.
So
you
then
want to
add 150 or 200.
Yeah, 150 to 200. Yep. And then you're going to break it down. So then you're going to break it down to that 30, 30, 40. And that'll give you your
Stupid
macros.
robot. Just a minute.
Oh, okay.
The vacuum started. I didn't remember I had a.
That's so
Sorry.
funny.
Okay. All right.
All right. So we're going to get into a little bit more of just education.
Okay.
So just so you know, 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories. A gram of fat equals 9 calories, and a gram of carbs equals 4 calories as well. And then I have on here, what the heck does this mean? Because, you know, when you're first learning this stuff, it's like, it really is mind blowing. When I took my first nutrition course, I was just like, what? So I've already told you what to do. So we kind of went ahead of the PowerPoint.
Oops, sorry.
But that's okay. No, you're good. And we actually, now you know, and we added the breastfeeding portion on there. Now, when it's someone, you know, if you had a newborn who was breastfeeding all the time, it can be adding 500 to 600 calories. Yeah. So that's super, super important to understand that. And if you have any friends who are breastfeeding, that's information that you can share with them too. So that last one just told you how to get your grams of protein. This one just tells you how to get your fats and your protein and your carbs. There's 9 grams of fats, like I said, per calorie. So that's why it's calculated differently. So if I were to take 1,600 calories and I divided that by 30%, which is that 30, 40, then it would be 480 calories of fats. Okay.
Okay.
Then you can divide 9 into 480, and this is what you get for grams. Okay. So the same is for protein and the same is for carbs, except for you're going to use the number 4 instead of the number 9.
Yep.
Okay. And this is what I always say, and I said it before. Always strive for progress, not perfection. If you try to shoot for perfection, you're going to miss it 100% of the time. Okay. So don't try to be perfect. All right. And then I put in here, calculating and tracking macros should never be stressful. It's simply a tool to help you reach your goals, and just use it that way. Okay. I have a lot of people that are like, well, this is just stressful. How do I get to this and stuff like that? And a lot of it is just planning ahead, right? Like,
yes,
prepping your foods ahead of time if you can. At least your main meals. You don't have to prep everything, but you know, if you can at least get some of your main meals. Exactly. Know what you have in the refrigerator, have some kind of idea, because if you're trying to track as you go, you're probably not going to make it. All right. There's no way I could track my food before, like as I go during the day. I've tried to do that and I usually end up missing something somewhere. So I always try to make sure I set aside a little bit of time, either at the night before or the morning that I wake up, and I'll go ahead and put in my foods for the day. That also helps me stay on track for if I have to run out the house and do something, run some errands or whatever. I can just bring some food with me. I can look at what I was supposed to eat and just be like, oh, okay, bring that with me. But it's also great for if you're going out to eat. I tell people, if you're going to go out to eat, most of the time the menu, you can find it. You can find the menu ahead of time. What I usually tell people is drink a glass of water when you get there and don't go out to eat starving. And then another thing that I'll tell people, especially if they're trying to lose weight, is I'll say, you know, get your meal, ask for a to-go box, put half of it in a to-go box, eat half of it, let it marinate for about 20 or 30 minutes, have a conversation, and then see if you're still hungry. Because the problem that most of us, and I say us because I used to do the same thing, is I would just be so hungry and I would just gulp it all down. And then I'm like, I'm so full. And then I would wonder why. But when I started learning about digestion and how our bodies process things, I was like, oh, because it takes like 20 or 30 minutes to process the food. So if I'm just eating and never giving my body a chance to process it, yeah, when it does process it, I'm just gonna be like, like I'm full.
So my guilty pleasure that we maybe do like once every 2 weeks or so is if we get a babysitter, which is usually my husband's aunt, There's this awesome Italian restaurant, and their Alfredo sauce is to die for. It's so bad, but it's so
Oh
good.
my goodness.
Like once every little while that, So the interesting thing is, so that calculation with the calories and everything that we did
Hmm.
comes out only 9 calories off of what I have. So that's good.
Okay. Well, that's good. But
Pretty
see, at
good.
least now you know,
But
right?
now I know why and understand why.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
that
that's
makes it make more sense. So as you lose weight, like how often do you reassess? Like every
so
10
that
pounds
okay,
or
so
something?
that's a great question. Thank you for asking that question. So you want to reassess when your body starts changing, right? So say you lose now I wouldn't worry too much if it's just a few pounds because literally because of hormones, women, our bodies fluctuate 5 pounds every single day, at least,
Yeah.
right? So that's why I tell people don't weigh themselves all the time because you're just going to disappoint yourself, right? It's just one of those things. If you weigh yourself all the time, constantly, you're always going to be back and forth. So I always tell people don't weigh yourself more than once a month when you're first starting out because you're just going to, it's a numbers
Oh,
game.
I do it more
It's
than that,
mental.
but
I've taken scales from people because we get so caught up. Now, I had someone tell me the other day that she does weigh herself every day, but it's to get an average. It's not to throw herself off,
yeah.
right? It's just to get an average. So if you're doing it like that, that's a little bit different. Just for most of the people that I've ever worked with, it becomes a numbers game and they get disappointed and it it becomes kind of a backtracking thing where they're like, well, this isn't working. I'm just going to give up,
Everything's
and
working.
well, and so that's good. Yeah. So, I mean, I do throw that out there just because our bodies do fluctuate, especially with you breastfeeding and stuff like that. Like, just remember it takes time. So, but
Right.
you're seeing that now. So that's
Hmm.
good. So you're going to be a testimony for other people. Did you know that? Yeah. So now you get to share your story with other people and you're going to have those amazing pictures, right? And
I
you're gonna be
wished I
like,
had that
what?
first picture, but I kind of have one, but not standing up. So we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. That's okay. It's your journey,
Yeah.
and you just keep that journey and just keep going with it. But hopefully this helped you a little bit with at least getting that water intake down and now you understand how you get the macronutrients and you need to reassess. So I would say once a month, go
Once a
in
month.
and kind of reassess. Yeah, because you did ask that. Sorry, I didn't really answer
That's
that, did
okay.
I?
I was
Yeah,
gonna
so
ask
just go
again.
in. Yeah, so just go in. Once a month, just reassess. You might be around the same, but it's just a good idea to continue to
No, I
reassess.
won't
So
be. I'll be
yeah,
down.
I love your attitude. Yes.
I'm
Yeah,
really on board. It took me a while, but I'm really there.
yeah. It just has to
I
be
need to. I need
important.
to for my health. I need to for my kids. I need to for myself.
Yeah, yeah. And I tell people, I mean, this is in my bio too. Like, it really took. I hit a point in my life where it was after I had our daughter, and I was older. I was in my 30s, and so I wasn't just losing the weight. And then my mom passed away when I was pregnant with our daughter. So, and she had a lot of health issues. So it made me realize like I need to do better. Even though I was kind of active, I didn't know enough about nutrition, and that's the key. So it's really important just to focus in on the foods that are gonna are serve our bodies better. That's what I always say. And just really pay attention to our fuel requirements and not making it a diet. You still want to have
No,
fun.
it's like
um,
a food plan or a yeah.
it's just a new habit. It's just a new habit, just like everything else. So the water, the food, it's all just habitual. You finally get to a point where you're not even thinking about what you're eating anymore. It's just you don't even want the same stuff that you used to eat. Like that's where I am. People offer me stuff. I can't even tell you when the last time I ate a donut. I mean, I have donuts on this thing because my daughter picked it out, but I can't even tell you the last time I ate one just because it's just not something that I really care for anymore. And I used to have a huge sweet tooth. So that's why I tell people if I can do this, anybody can. Like, I learned how to make things that would curb my sweet tooth and still, still taste good, but then were healthier for me.
I like those
So
yasso bars. That's my nightly ritual.
Okay. I don't even know what that is.
Oh, it's a Greek yogurt ice cream bar.
Okay. Oh, I think I know which one you're talking
They
about. You
really
got to
taste
remember, I was
good, but
overseas before I got, so there's a lot of things I hadn't seen until I got
they're
back,
fairly
and I'm
new, I
like,
think.
okay, okay, yeah. Well, but there's, at least you're looking for healthier options, right? You're not just
Hmm.
going in,
And
and
it's in
just
a
make sure you
bar,
track
so
it.
it's not like you get to scoop just a teeny bit extra. It's
Yep.
pre-packed.
There you go. Yep. And that's another thing I tell people, measure it so that way you only pour what you need.
Hmm.
Because if you just start eating mindlessly, before you know, the whole bag's going to be gone, or the whole, thing of ice cream is going to be gone, and you're going to be like, ah, yeah. So, but you're learning that already. So you're already
Hmm.
way ahead of the game. I'm just glad that you reached out, and I'm glad that we get to know each other, and I'm here if you have any questions. So just let me know. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Do you have any other questions for today about anything that we've gone over? Do you feel good about continuing and getting your
Oh,
water
yeah.
intake and things like that? Okay, good.
Yeah, that's my
Awesome.
next step. I'll be working on the water.
Awesome. And just always remember your why. And I always tell people, make your why bigger than you. Put, like, my why is my daughter. That's bigger than any excuse I can ever make. Right? Make your kids your why, make yourself important, and you'll never put yourself off, and you'll never, miss commitments that you make to yourself, because those are the biggest ones. And when you start diving into, not doing the commitments that you make to yourself, that's when you start entering that whole self-esteem and depression stage, and we don't want that, right? So make your why bigger than you.
That's a whole nother story of
Yeah, but we've all
my
been
job
there.
and everything, I think,
Yeah. But just remember, you can't control anything else. Never think that you can control life, because you already know you can't, right? The only thing that you can control in this life is how you react to something. That's it. That's it. So you can let it take you out the game, or you can remember that there's a reason for things. I used to get so mad when people told me that, but now I know why they said it, because now I'm seeing it. I've gone through the fire. I've I've failed at so many things. I've put all my heart into something and then got put right back into where I started. That's all happened. And but now I'm seeing that it was all for a reason. And I didn't know that back then. So when people would be like, "Oh, it happens for everything happens for a reason. You're gonna see one day," and I'd just be like, "Ah, be quiet," you know. But now, whatever, 5, 6 years later, I'm like, they were right.
Yeah, I need to figure out what I want to do with my life. I need to figure out what I
Well,
want to be when I grow up.
it's funny you say that, because I literally just said the other day, I said, I think I finally figured out what I want to be when I grew up. Yeah, and
No.
but it's okay, and it's not for. I'm gonna tell you this because I had to learn this. It's not for me to figure out. You're gonna find out what you're good at just by living day to day. Whatever you love and whatever you feel like you're gifted at, whatever you don't have to work hard at, that's your gift. So
Well,
that's what you think about, right? You can literally
I
make.
loved my job. It everything went to hell when COVID came around.
Yeah, yeah, but that's
I'm a nurse
okay.
practitioner. I'm a nurse.
Okay.
So, and I ended up with a boss that did not like me for I don't know why. I think she was jealous of me.
Mm,
And because everybody got along with me and loved me, and she was new before I came back from maternity leave, and I came back from maternity leave, and I think she was just didn't like that everybody was, really liked me and stuff. And it just went to hell. And then COVID was just an excuse because I had 3 kids at home.
mhm,
Both me and my husband were trying to work from home.
mhm.
It was impossible. It was
Yeah,
impossible that I couldn't do what they wanted me to do.
yeah,
And they didn't even tell me why they fired me. That's the part that it kills me. Like it literally kills me because I don't know the reason. Like they gave like this blanketed thing that I broke some protocol or something, but they never told me what.
mm,
Like it was just ridiculous.
yeah,
So it just like, keeps replaying and it keeps, it. And I had a low confidence level as a nurse practitioner before that happened, and then that happened, and I'm like, how do I ever bounce back? How do I get that I don't know. I'm also having like memory issues and stuff. So my health issues with that, it's, I'm worried to go back to work because I'm afraid that I'll mess up, like I'm afraid that, this is people's lives. It's not just, I don't know. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Oh, a total sense. And I mean, oh girl, we could go into a whole look, you need my book. I write about all that stuff. I'm telling you, I've had to work through all that stuff. But I am a testimony that you can work through it.
I'm sure I will. I just
The
need to figure out
confidence, the
what I want to
confidence
do.
thing is important, because I will tell you, I would not be where I am right now if I had continued to allow others to dictate who I was. That person, that wasn't where you were meant to be. But you still are a nurse practitioner, right? Nobody took that away from you. So now you just have to figure out where you need to be.
I
And
know.
that will happen. That will happen. Like there was a time I was putting my resume out to everything, like just all kinds of stuff. And where I was supposed to be ended up being right in front of me. It takes time, and that's the hard part.
I was thinking about maybe becoming a lactation consultant, with my degree and everything, so that I could do like a little bit more than regular lactation consultants. And that didn't. There's somebody that I'd like to precept with, but it hasn't panned out yet. So I'm just kind of
Mhm.
sitting and waiting and seeing if that pans out.
Let me ask you this. What's stopping you from doing it on your own?
You need a preceptor. You
Okay.
need to do so many hours.
Okay. Well, if you're waiting on that person, go find somebody else.
I know, but she's the best.
It's okay, because you could potentially be the best. It doesn't matter who you end up with. What you learn is up to you, right? Nobody can stop you from researching. I could have stopped with personal training. I could have stopped with just going and taking a basic nutrition course. But one thing that I've always been able to do is not wait on other people. Like I said, you can't let other people dictate how your life goes, right? You are in control. And it's just up to you to learn how to be confident in knowing that. Don't wait around on somebody else.
I figure out. Yeah. Well, the other thing is we have like a tiny farm, and I'm like, is there any way that I can become sustainable through that? Is there? But I got to learn like a ton of stuff. I haven't got there yet.
Yeah. Well, like I said, this is going to take you sitting down with yourself and listing out the different things that you can do, that you're good at, right? And then it's just going to take listening. I don't know if you do meditation. I had to start implementing that because my life was chaotic and I was depressed, and I was just like, I don't even know where to go anymore. And I had to just be still. What I learned was, in that still moment is when I got all the answers that I needed. So when everything was just crazy and chaotic, and I never found the answers I was looking for, I started getting the answers when I just was quiet for a few minutes. Because if we're always thinking and trying to work, we're
Oh, my
never
brain
letting
never
anything in.
stops.
It's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I was the same way. Like trying to stop my brain for a long period of time is not an easy thing, but I had to be intentional on that too. You can do anything. You can do anything. You just have to be intentional about it. There's nothing that I'm doing that you can't do. There's nothing that anybody out there is doing that I can't do. But I have to be intentional about it. I have to put the effort in. I have to work towards it. And then I just have to figure out, okay, what am I good at? Well, start there. But I have to be confident too. I have to know that I'm good at that. You got to believe in yourself.
I gotta think a lot.
But you can do it. It all
Thank
starts
you.
with you.
Yep.
Like I said, I'm telling you this from experience. I've been
Mm-hmm.
slapped in the face I don't know how many times. It wasn't by choice I got out of the military. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
You can always get back up. Just you have to make that choice, and you have to put
Right.
the effort in. Don't wait on somebody else to dictate your life. This is America. You got options out there you didn't even know about. Like, if somebody had told me 10 years ago, you're going to be an entrepreneur one day and you're going to be motivating people, I probably would have laughed in their face. I say that all the time. I'm like, I had no idea back then what my potential was.
You're doing a good job now.
Thank you. Believe in yourself. You're stronger than you think.
I'm sure. You find that every day you go through.
Yeah. I know for me, I also implemented a lot of spiritual wellness. That was one thing that was missing from my life. So even in my book, I mean, it's just, Bible scriptures that were speaking to me as I was writing it.
Mm-hmm.
And just, now even I'm mentoring people in that aspect too, because it was huge. It literally changed my life. It got me out of depression. It allowed me to really operate in my purpose and believe in myself. And so I don't know where your faith is, but I do know that helped me.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know anyone that is kind of walking that journey and you can lock arms with them, that's a good person to be around. So,
Yeah.
but,
You've given me a lot to think about.
well, I try my best. No. Like I said, I have this book. Yeah, it's way cheaper than any of those health coaching programs, but it has everything in it. I put everything in this book. It's got worksheets in the back. It's got things you can do as you're reading it. I put a lot into it, but I wanted it to be available so that way when I had someone like you who was, laid off or something like that, I can be like, less than $20. Here you go. Everything you need to know. It's called Reclaim Your Life. It's got my daughter on the front.
Nice.
Yeah, and I can send the link in Messenger because I actually have some on hand if you want like an actual, because I put like a gift box together or something, but you can find it on Amazon and stuff like that too.
Okay.
But yeah, I write about everything and you'll see, like, that's why I tell people, I'm like, I made it through and I'm okay. But I had to allow myself to heal. I had to learn how to forgive. I had to learn how to forgive others, which was hard, like your old boss, right? It's hard to do that. But the only way to forgive ourselves is by forgiving others. And so when you start walking that journey and not allowing others to dictate who you are, your life becomes limitless. Like I said, I would have never been doing some of the stuff that I'm doing right now if I had kept blaming other people. And that took me a long time to get past.
Right.
Daily work. And I still have to do it every morning when I wake up. At least 10 or 15 minutes. And that was a habit I didn't have either. So as I started implementing all that new stuff, I was able to help people a lot differently too. So
Okay.
but you're gonna have that testimony one day, and you're gonna be writing the book, and you're gonna be able to help a lot of people too. And maybe that's your purpose. We all go through stuff for a reason. We just have to believe that.
I do. I just got to figure out why.
Don't try to figure that out.
Once I get to where I'm supposed to be, then I'll figure it out.
Yeah, you'll see it, but you don't have to figure it out. I think I put that in there as well. Like, I used to always ask why. I don't try to figure that out anymore. It's too much of a waste of time.
I see.
I was listening to a video this morning, and I'm gonna have to get off here, but I was listening to a video this morning, Tony Robbins. I always listen to those people. But Tony Robbins, and he said, I used to allow myself, or when he started trying to get in his journey and the self-discipline and personal development and things like that, he was like, when something in my life not so favorable would happen, I would give myself 90 seconds to live in the moment. After that 90 seconds, I had to make a choice to continue going. And I thought about that and I was just like, yeah, because the only way I'm able to continue operating, it isn't because I'm just positive all the time. It's because I'm disciplined now. And I'm learning that I cannot allow those little things to affect me on a substantial basis.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to believe in yourself, know that you're worthy, love yourself, and you can accomplish anything that you want.
Just gotta figure out what that is that I
Don't try to
want.
figure it out. You're gonna see it. It's gonna come to you. I'm telling you, because when I tried to figure it out, believe me, I wasn't. I was making myself crazy trying to figure it out. But once I stopped trying to figure it out, everything just started flowing. And I was like, well, that's interesting. So
Okay.
yeah, you got a lot of homework now, but I believe in you and I know you can do it.
All right. Thank you.
All right, no problem. All right, Mindy, well, you have a great Monday.
Happy Monday.
Yes. And let me know if you need anything. All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Talk to you later.
Bye bye.
All right, bye.